All right, let's jump right in. We're going to talk about the unique world of science. And here's the thing, I promise you, it's way closer to home than you probably think.
Have you ever just stood outside on a clear night, looked up at all those stars, and just felt, wow, that sense of total wonder? It's something we all feel, right? That moment you realize just how massive everything is. And it's exactly that feeling that gets our brains going. It starts sparking questions. Simple stuff like, why do those stars seem to twinkle? It's probably one of the first big mysteries we ever notice.
Well, that feeling, that question, that right there, that is exactly where all science begins. It's that simple little spark of curiosity.
Think about it. When we're kids, we are natural-born explorers, right? We're just question machines. How does a flower know it's time to bloom? Why does it rain? Where did we come from? And listen, these aren't just silly kids' questions. They are the absolute seeds of scientific discovery. So here's the key takeaway. Curiosity isn't just a nice feeling. No, it's the single most important tool any scientist has in their toolkit. It is the engine that drives the whole shebang, the thing that pushes us to look a little deeper, to ask the harder questions, and to never, ever be satisfied with just because as an answer.
Okay, so what's so cool about all this is that this journey, it doesn't just happen in some fancy high-tech lab. Not at all. The world of science is, and I mean this literally, everywhere you look.
Just think about the sheer scale of it all. Science helps us wrap our heads around something as mind-bogglingly huge as a galaxy millions of light years away. But at the same time, it also helps us understand the super delicate, intricate little world of a coral reef thriving deep under the sea.
And it gets even closer to home than that. Science is in the mountains we go hiking in. That's geology. It's in the amazing chemistry that's happening in your kitchen every single time you cook a meal. Yep, from the biggest mountain peak to the food right there on your plate. Science is everywhere.
The best way I've heard it described is like this. Science is a giant, never-ending puzzle. Every time we find an answer to a question, it's like we're snapping another piece into place. And the coolest part? Every single piece we add reveals the edges of new pieces we didn't even know existed. It just leads to more questions. And sometimes, just sometimes, we find a piece that's so game-changing, it makes us rethink how the whole rest of the puzzle fits together.
Okay, so if science is this giant puzzle, you're probably asking, how do we even start to solve it? Well, there's actually a really simple but super powerful guide that, honestly, anyone can use to find answers. It's called the scientific method. And don't let the name scare you. It's less like a strict set of rules and more, well, it's just a way of thinking clearly. It all starts when you just observe something. You look closely. Then you ask a question about it, like why or how. After that, you make an educated guess, a possible answer. We call that a hypothesis. But here's the most important part. Your guess has to be testable. That's the key word. It means you have to be able to check and see if it's wrong. So then you test it. And finally, you look at what happened and see if your guess was right. It's this awesome little loop of observing, guessing, and testing.
Now, here's the big secret. You ready? You do this all the time. Seriously, whether you even realize it or not, you are already a scientist.
Let's use a super simple, everyday example. Imagine your favorite pen just stops working. The very first thing you do is observe the problem, right? And then you ask the question, why did my pen stop working? Almost without thinking, your brain makes a guess. Maybe the ink ran out. Boom, that's your hypothesis. So what's the next logical step? You test it. You unscrew the pen and look at the ink cartridge. That simple little action, that's your experiment.
And this kind of thinking happens constantly. Your dinner overflows in the pressure cooker. Your guess is you probably added too much water. You get a flat tire on your bike. You test it by putting it in a bucket of water to find the bubbles. See? You're observing, guessing, and testing all the time to solve regular, everyday problems.
So the big idea here is this. Science isn't some exclusive club for people on white lab coats. Not even close. Every single time you ask why and then try to figure out the answer for yourself, you're tapping into the exact same way of thinking that drives all of the world's greatest discoveries.
And that brings me to my final point. And honestly, it might be the most beautiful thing about science. It's not about finding one single, final, correct answer for everything. That's not the goal.
You've probably heard the saying, it's a journey, not a destination. Well, that is science, 100%. It is a process of always learning, always questioning, always making our understanding a little bit better, and yeah, sometimes it means completely rewriting everything we thought we knew about the universe. And look at that. We've come full circle, right back to where we started, to that feeling of pure wonder when you're looking up at the night sky. See, the goal isn't to have an answer for every single star. The real goal is to just embrace the adventure of asking the questions. That's where the magic is.
It's about promising yourself to keep looking, to keep asking, and to keep exploring. This world of ours is an amazing, complicated, beautiful place, and it's just filled with puzzles waiting for you. So I gotta ask, are you ready for the adventure?